Welcome to Module 1 of Good to Go Sonol. I'm Cheryl Miller from the Diablo Fire Safe Council. We've been working with a leadership team of residents supported by the Alameda County Fire Department and the Santa Clara unit of CAL FIRE to develop this program. Funding was provided by the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection as part of the California Climate Investments Program. Since the program is in its early form, we hope you will give us feedback on what works for you or what is missing. If you don't have a workbook for this module, download one at www.goodtogowildfire.com. We look forward to hearing from you as you discover how to be good to go. During Module 1, you will learn about existing evacuation alerting systems so you can know when to be ready to evacuate. We will cover 4 topics: warnings, notifications, communications, and situational awareness. The Module 1 workbook includes 5 actions and associated checklists to help you develop your customized evacuation plan. In Sonol and throughout Alameda County, fire agencies and law enforcement will use the terms evacuation warning, evacuation order, and shelter in place to alert you to the significance of the danger and provide basic instructions. Evacuation warning means to evacuate as soon as possible. There is a potential threat to life and/or property. It may be okay to take a short delay to gather valuables and prepare your home, but leave immediately if you feel unsafe. Evacuation order means that there is immediate threat to life. This is a lawful order to leave now. The area is lawfully closed to public access. Evacuate immediately. Do not delay to gather belongings or prepare your home. Follow any directions provided in the evacuation order. Shelter in place means to go indoors, stay in your current location, or move to the safest nearby building or unburnable area. Shelter in place may be required when evacuation isn't necessary or if it is just too dangerous. Be prepared to self-sustain until further notice. In an emergency, Alameda County officials may use many different tools to notify you. These will communicate information and instructions. However, the warning systems are not guaranteed to work. Make sure you know how to find emergency information from many different sources. AC Alert is the most important of the notifications. The Alameda County Sheriff's Office will issue an alert when action is needed at specific addresses where lives may be at risk. However, you must sign up and prepare to use these systems now before an emergency occurs. Sign up at www.acalert.org and remember to check that AC Alert is not blocked by your Do Not Disturb settings if you have a cell phone. A second way to receive notifications is through Nixle. Alameda County and East Bay Regional Park District each host Nixle sites. They are used routinely to transmit non-life-threatening messages when information is needed in a zip code, typically used for road closure, general updates, and issues that affect larger areas. But it may be the first method that's used to notify a community of a smaller fire. Text your zip code to 888-777 to opt into alerts from local agencies. Remember to set Nixle and a Do Not Disturb available contact on your cell phone. Again, you need to register for this type of alert. Other notifications come via social media, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, Nextdoor. These tend to be less critical and a lower level update intended for larger populations, often traffic updates or road closures or incident updates. They're used for things that have very frequent updates. The links that are shown on the screen and in your workbook are the official links to the Alameda County Fire Department social media. There's also a application called Pulse Point that runs on your smartphone or tablet, and this can be set to follow your local fire services, and it will alert you when they are dispatched. This application also has the ability to monitor radio traffic and provide first-hand information from the emergency scene. It provides a lot of information. Last of the notification systems is the Emergency Alert System, or EAS, and it sends wireless emergency alerts, or WEA messages. The EAS is what interrupts the TV and radio broadcasts, and it's delivering major local, regional, and national emergency alerts. Following the initial alert, TV and radio stations often provide ongoing status reports and information. You're going to want to check with your cell phone server to see if your cell phone can receive these wireless emergency alerts. While we're talking about notifications, we also want to think about other communications. Pre-designate an out-of-state contact. Program that contact cell number into each family member's phone. This out-of-state contact should become the clearinghouse for your family calls, and that prevents too many calls from coming in and out of the local area, and especially if you lose the ability to call out if your cell towers are down. All residents who are out of town during evacuation period are asked to register as soon as possible with the Safe and Well site. By registering, you tell people that you're okay. Family and friends will not worry about you, and sheriff's deputies will not spend valuable hours searching for you. Now it's time for your first activity. Let's stop this presentation and register for notifications. Pull out your smartphone or tablet and choose at least one of the methods listed below. You can also do this on a computer. We recommend that everyone be signed up for AC Alert, so choose that one and one or two of the others. An easy way to confirm if you're signed up is just to try to sign up again. It'll tell you if you've already signed. Welcome back. I hope you're all signed up for AC Alert and are ready to learn about situational awareness. Getting ready for evacuations is all about understanding the weather. We want you to get used to monitoring the weather conditions on a daily basis. Most major wildfires that destroy homes and cause death and injuries have a common denominator. Those are the dry winds that blow from the east and north. These conditions are most common in the fall from September and October, but they can actually happen any time of year, and they will always be associated with potentially catastrophic fires during the dry season. Monitoring predicted weather can provide advance warning and extra time to prepare before a fire strikes. Fire weather watch is issued up to 72 hours before the conditions are expected to occur, and then a red flag warning is issued when conditions are expected to occur or actually are occurring within the next 24 hours. You can text your zip code again to 888-777 and be registered for Nixle, and then you will receive the Sunol fire weather information. Secondly, you may want to monitor active fires in the Sunol area at the CAL FIRE website. That's www.fire.ca.gov/incidents. And the last tip is that weather radios are an inexpensive and usually reliable way to receive these alerts. These devices can be battery powered to provide a means of receiving emergency alerts if your power is out. Learn more about the NOAA weather radios at www.nws.noaa.gov/NWR/. Sunol CERT has tested radios in these canyons. Many of the wind-up models do not work. If you live up Kilcare Road, talk to one of the local CERT volunteers to see what they use, if what they use will work in your home before you buy one. Red flag warnings are determined by the National Weather Service. All the local media outlets will announce red flag warnings when they are used. If you hear a red flag warning, you need to be ready to prepare your family for potential evacuation. Start by reviewing your go bag and make sure it's complete. Then prepare your home and family for a potential fire by reviewing the steps on your evacuation checklist. Module 2 will help you customize your list. Ensure that your phones are charged and receiving messages, and remain alert and monitor conditions outside and nearby. Take steps to prevent ignition. Don't use power tools, barbecues, or any potential heat source or spark outside during these red flag warning times. We often get asked, what's the difference between a red flag warning and the fire danger sign, such as the one at the CAL FIRE station on Pleasanton Sunol Road? The fire danger signs reflect a potential for fire to ignite, spread, and resist control, similar to the red flag. However, later in the season, you will notice it often remains on very high or extreme. These signs are part of the National Fire Danger Rating System. They allow fire managers to estimate today or tomorrow's fire danger for a given area. They are actually used to determine staffing and use restrictions. They're not meant to relate to a potential for evacuation. We've now reached your second action, page 9 in your workbook. Let's practice how to determine the current wildfire situation. Do you need to be ready to evacuate now? Are you worried about evacuating tonight? Where can you find out? This exercise will remind you of where to check, so take a minute to work through all four methods. Connect with AC Alert to find out their status. Connect to NOAA to see if there's a current weather status for red flag. Use your weather radio to see if there's any sort of alert. And then you can also connect to the CAL FIRE site for active fire status. Then think about what other ideas you have. You might use your social network, whether that's calling a friend, or going online. You could step outside and see how windy it is, and smell for smoke, or listen for fire engines and helicopters, or just call a friend or neighbor if you're concerned. So there are lots of ways to understand whether or not there might be a call for an evacuation during a certain time period. It's now common for Pacific Gas and Electric to turn off electric power when high fire threat areas during high wind events to prevent wildfires from igniting. They're working to minimize the size of the area that's affected by these shutoffs, but it's better to be ready. Ironically, these public safety power shutoffs may become one of the ways to remind you to be good to go. For me, as soon as I hear that there's a PSPS in place or a red flag warning, the cat box comes up. So we're all ready to evacuate should we need to. The evacuation notification systems are not guaranteed to work during power outages, so monitoring and understanding the surrounding situation is your personal responsibility. You want to ensure that you have access to information from multiple sources. Monitor a battery-powered weather or AM and FM radio continuously during power outages to keep apprised of current conditions. And don't neglect to use your own senses, look, listen, and smell for signs of fire and changing conditions. And use your neighborhood connections to find out what your neighbors are hearing and what they know. To prepare for a public safety power shutoff in advance, update your contact information with PG&E so you know when one is being planned. Consider purchasing an uninterruptible power source for your home phone or your internet, and understand the limits of these power sources, how many hours they will work. Be sure to know how to open your garage door without power or install a battery backup should you have an automatic door. And plan for power outages that can last for several days, 72 hours or more. Before we wrap up, let's take a look at the lessons learned in 2017 North Bay fires and the 2018 Camp Fire. They learned that not everyone is signed up for emergency alerts. Hopefully you are by now. They learned that there's a loss of phone service, and there's loss of electricity early, there's loss of internet and loss of cell sites, and that ham radios worked if power was available. And the biggest take-home message that we want to convey from all the lessons learned in those fires is the need for personal responsibility. Work with your neighbors. Be ready to deal with an evacuation. Our fourth action of this module is to get you thinking about all the ways you connect with your neighbors, whether it's face-to-face or through a phone tree or email or text or Facebook or Twitter or Google Groups or social media platforms. It may seem silly to you right now to write down who you contact, but if you panic in an emergency, you'll be glad you took the time today and added this to your customized evacuation plan. The final action of today is to fill out your disaster plan worksheet. So this sheet includes your family information, your local contact, your out-of-area contact, your school plan, your notifications. With this worksheet complete, you're well on your way to the customized evacuation plan for your family. And please note at the bottom of the page, for additional information on disaster planning beyond just wildfire, see the Alameda County Department Emergency Preparedness Unit at www.acgov.org/ready/. So let's do a quick recap of some of the key concepts we learned. We learned about warnings and that the 3 different types, and that we also need to be prepared both to go and to shelter in place, with a reminder that those warning systems are not guaranteed to work in an emergency. You need to make sure you know how to find emergency information from many sources and not just wait to be told. We learned about notifications and how you could sign up for those various alerts and what the typical uses of the different systems are. We learned about how important other communications are, the need to set up out-of-state contact, and register safe and well should there have been an event in your area. We also learned about situational awareness and when to be ready to evacuate from wildfire by knowing the current wildfire situation, what red flag weather means and the difference between fire danger rating signs, and how to be ready for public safety power shutoffs. We also briefly touched on some lessons learned in the recent fires, and the most important is the need for personal responsibility and a disaster plan. And finally, we got you thinking about how do you communicate with your neighbors so that you're ready to check should there be time to evacuate. There are several ways to become more involved in Good to Go Sunol. You can take our short survey or sign up on our contact list to receive updates. You can either email your request or sign up on our website. You can host a module. We're happy to set up a Zoom meeting for your neighbors and friends. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel for other modules. or attend a Sunol Citizen Advisory Council meeting for a live presentation. That's also through Zoom right now. You can download a workbook at www.goodtogowildfire.com, or if you have any questions, please email us at goodtogosunol@gmail.com. Get a workbook, prepare for wildfire, and get good to go, Sunol.